Hey there, I'm Ari from the Tech Buyers Guru, and I've got another product review for you here on the channel today. It's actually launch day, October 13th, 2020, for Corsair's new K60 line of mechanical gaming keyboards. Now, if you're all familiar with the mechanical gaming keyboard market, you've probably come across the K70, which is the best-selling mechanical gaming keyboard of all time. Now, the K70 typically goes for around $120 to $170, which is a lot of money for many gamers out there, and Corsair knows that, and that's why they're debuting the K60 starting at just $90 with true mechanical switches. You may be wondering, how did Corsair pull off that pricing miracle? Well, they got a little helping hand from their friends over at Cherry, a longtime partner. And Cherry is the well-known German manufacturer of mechanical switches, and of course they're well-known particularly for their MX switches, which have been featured in a wide variety of Corsair keyboards, including all of the K70 keyboards that have been introduced over the years. Now, I actually knew that this keyboard was coming along way back in January 2020 when I met one-on-one with Cherry at CES, and they told me all about the new Viola switch that they had in development. Well, this is the debut keyboard to feature that Viola switch. It is a true mechanical switch designed from the ground up to undercut the MX line of switches in cost and yet still deliver that true mechanical feel. Now, both Corsair and Cherry are really going after the hybrid switch market. The products that are named something like Memcanical or Mechamembrane, depending on the manufacturer, these offer a mechanical style feel without being true mechanical switches. The Viola in the K60 is a true mechanical switch. And if you want to learn more about how the Viola is constructed, take a look at my interview right here, where I did talk to Cherry at length about how the Viola was designed. Now, focusing in on the K60, there are actually three members of this lineup at launch. First, the K60 RGB Pro, which has Viola switches, coming in at $90. Then the Pro SE model that I have here costs just $10 more and adds double shot keycaps to the K60. So for $100, you get both Viola mechanical switches and those new keycaps, and I think that's going to be viewed as a huge bargain by a lot of enthusiasts out there. Now, there is a third member of the lineup called the K60 Pro Low Profile that actually has MX low profile switches. So at $110, that's a pretty good deal for an MX based board, but it doesn't have the double shot keycap. So I decided I'd look at the mid-tier level in the K60 lineup because it had both the new Viola switches, which I was pretty interested in, as well as those double shot keycaps that a lot of people are interested in. So without further ado, let me open up this box and show you what the K60 looks like. Similar to its older cousin, the K70, the K60 has an aluminum faceplate and a removable wrist rest. It also has very bright RGB lighting. The Viola switches were designed from the ground up to let that light shine, and you can see how bright and uniform it is here. Note that the wrist rest is very easy to attach and detach thanks to a magnetic mechanism. There are no plastic clips that risk breaking. The wrist rest is very cushy, perhaps a little bit too cushy in fact. And one thing I noticed about it is that it tended to pick up dust and lint very easily. This is after just a couple of minutes of use. The double shot keycaps can be removed, but I found them quite tight, so be careful as you pull them off so you don't break the stem. You can see that the Viola switches have a lot of light shining through. They are truly different than the MX in that regard. Here's a closer look at one of the double shot keycaps. It uses a standard Cherry MX style stem attachment point, and being double shot means it's molded, not painted, so there's nothing that will rub off over time. Now, as with all Corsair keyboards, you do get the advantages of their iCUE software ecosystem. Here I've programmed a really cool gradient, but watercolor is actually what you'll get by default. And while it's a great demonstration of Corsair's lighting system, it's also a little bit distracting. So you'll probably want to change that out for one of the other options available here. Now, I'd also like to point out that you do have the hardware lighting option, and this is great for when you do not have iCUE running. So I've just programmed in a solid purple so that when I plug this into other PCs, I get that color instead of this watercolor that's the default. iCUE also allows you to create macros and other special function keys, which you may want to do given there are no dedicated media or shortcut keys on the board. Now I'll move on to sound samples. I noticed some resonance in the frame. See if you can pick it up here. All right, well, in the end, I have to admit, I was a little bit disappointed in this K60 RGB Pro SE from Corsair. I had been looking forward to testing the Viola switches, but frankly, they're no match for Cherry's own MX switches. And if the price were a lot lower, I could understand. But for just $10 more than this board, you can get the MX low profile board. And yes, it does lack the double shot keycaps of this model, but I would trade away these double shot keycaps for that low profile responsiveness every time. They're just so much better. I've been sold on those ever since testing the K70 low profile that I have right here. And frankly, this is actually my recommendation at this point. Right now, it's on special on the Corsair website for $120. I just don't see any reason to buy any other keyboard under $200 at this point. This is a fantastic board. You get the enhancements of the K70 over the K60, including styling, dedicated media keys, and better responsiveness over the board I tested. This has the MX low profile rapid fire switches that are even better than MX low profile red switches. And just overall, there's just no replacement for this. And it may be discontinued at this point. Perhaps that's why it's on sale. But as long as it's available on the Corsair website, grab it. It is a great keyboard for $120. As for the RGB Pro SE for $100, I'm just not sold on it. I think that the switches combined with the lack of some of the other features and the high profile of these keycaps, it's not for me. It may be for others, but I do think the price is kind of questionable because of all the other great Corsair keyboards you can get right now for around the same price. They may not last long though, so hurry up and get it on the Corsair website if you do want this K70 low profile. It's my favorite board on the planet. Now, moving forward, you know, Corsair has plenty of other products coming, and I expect there to be a replacement for the K70 sooner rather than later. We've already had this K60 hit. We had the K100 hit. Of course, the K70 is their best-selling line of mechanical keyboards. So we'll see soon if there's something up Corsair's sleeve in terms of replacing this venerable keyboard. Maybe that's why it's on sale. Anyway, if you had any questions or comments on this review, please post them down below. I'll do my best to get back to you. If you enjoyed it, please do give me a like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.